Go.
Hello and welcome back to The Daily Show. I'm Dave Spagnol and I'm your host. We've been on break for quite a while now. In fact, it feels like it's been 50 years. We have a lot of events to cover for you, so let's get started. When we left you last, Hitler was just coming into power. Hitler was one of the most evil men in history. He ordered the mass genocide of 6 million Jews and was pretty much responsible for kicking off World War II. Although, on the plus side, if he hadn't done it, there would be no Call of Duty World at War. So here to come and discuss World War II with us is our senior Nazi correspondent, Macy.
Okay, so, this all started out about 1933. Germany withdrew from the United Nations. Well, that one happened. Then, a few years later, Mussolini attacked Ethiopia, which is... Maybe we should keep an eye on Italy for a while. Just watch them. In 1936, Mussolini sent a small army to demilitarize Rhine, which, people were like, oh, we're not so happy about this. And then, the other European countries were like, all right, Italy, you got one more chance. So then, in 1938, Germany and Austria reunited once again, and that was a big thing. Everyone was like, what's going on here? Some little plan going on. So then, in 1939, Hitler decided to invade Poland, and then that was the deal breaker. We were like, all right, Germany, you need to sit yourself down. And then, in 1940, Hitler invades Denmark, Norway, and begins the Blitzkrieg through Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Let me tell you, the Allied powers were not happy about that. They were like, Germany, you need to chill out, buddy. And then in 1941, Operation Barbarossa is when Germany decided to attack the big guns. They decided they were going to attack Russia. Russia is like, no, we're not having any of this, Germany. So then, in 1941, Germany managed to get Japan on their side, and Japan were like, we're going to bomb Pearl Harbor. And the U.S. was like, like, you drag us into this, we're never coming out of this. So then the U.S. declared war on Japan. And then in 1944, D-Day, Britain and the American invasion landed on Normandy Beach, and they were like, we're going to finish this once and for all.
Britain, the only country that can be more efficient through World War than a snowstorm.
You were right about that. And then on August 6th, 1945, the U.S. dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, and then 2 days later, we're like, we're going to do this again, and dropped it on Nagasaki. That's essentially World War II in a nutshell.
Thank you, Macy. All right, that's World War II, and now here are some words from our sponsors.
Oh, babe, check this out. Hey, come on. You want a little chippy? You want a Dorito? Are you hungry? I want to get a Dorito.
Babe, don't hurt my dog.
Come on, get a tip. Come on, get a tip. Get a tip. Come on. Here he comes. Here he comes. I want Dorito.
Welcome back, everybody. Now let's talk about the Cold War. In the closing months of World War II, tension built between Russia and the United States. The United States and Russia were basically stuck at the beginning of a game of hot hands. Both were afraid to move on, and the chance that they were gonna lose. The nuclear arms race and the space race between the two countries affected Europe more than you might think. Not just politically, but also culturally. And to discuss this more, we have our music correspondent, Joan Jett. Come on in. All right, Joan, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not bad. Good to see you.
Alright.
So, do you want to just give us a little bit more insight with the Cold War and how it affected, especially with music, since you are a music correspondent?
Absolutely. So, rock music has, throughout history, been proven to be a political statement against societal norms. It's very rebellious. It was created in the 1950s, actually, in the United States by African Americans. And it started out more with like a country twang, and as it progressed over the decades, it was become more like metal or punk rock. So, especially European rock has been something iconic throughout history. The Beatles being the obvious band. They came over to the United States in 1962 with their first hit, Love Me Do, and eventually as the years progressed, their music changed, and there was a song that they released called Revolution, with lyrics such as, you say you'll change the Constitution, well, you know, we all want to change your head. You tell me it's the institution, well, you know, you better free your mind instead. And so obviously that's a very, like, yeah, the government kind of sucks song. And they say that they'll change things, but they really don't. And so later in the 1970s, punk rock began to get huge with bands with more vulgar titles, such as the Sex Pistols, came around. And this was literally revolutionary in Eastern Europe and Russia. So it was, a lot of punk rock music was geared towards the teens and towards youth in order to change their perspectives on things and make them want to rebel, especially against communism. Communism was obviously a huge thing that happened. And so there was actually this one song called Get Out of Control, performed in what was then Leningrad, Russia, in 1986, that was so outrageous to the government that if you look it up on the internet, that's a new thing that's happening, that you will not find who actually sang it. You won't find the lyrics anywhere. Because I did try. I even had some younger folk help me out. But some of the lyrics were, they chose the most painful places and treated us like animals on the farm, so we grew up like a disciplined herd. We sing what they want and live how they want. So obviously this is a very good example of why rock music has changed how governments work and how teens think. And it's something that's still prevalent today. You have it in music such as bands like Fall Out Boy, Linkin Park, whatever you can think of, and it's there. Even I, as a rock star, thank you, release songs, my most popular one being Bad Reputation, you know, I don't give a damn about my bad reputation. And music like this has honestly just spread the disaffection around that helped contributed to the downfall of communism.
Just a few things, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, music's not a big deal.
Well, it's been nice having you, Joe.
It's been a
I hope to
pleasure.
see you in concert soon.
Absolutely,
Have a nice night.
and the
All right.
Black Hearts.
Oh, absolutely. All right, now let's cut to commercial.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Ross!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblams, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
Now let me introduce to you our guest for the night, Mr. Frankie Weber. Frankie, how you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Not bad. So, I brought you on to discuss some of the contemporary people and ideas that have been through Europe in the past couple decades. So, you mentioned what you want to discuss for the night.
Yeah, tonight I'm going to discuss with you the Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher, some toys and how they've affected culture. Pope John Paul II, some early computers, and the European Union, which is really important.
All right, those are some pretty ideal topics. So, why don't you get started with, who did you want to start with?
I'm going to start with the Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher. She was a shopkeeper's daughter, and she became the first female Prime Minister of Great Britain. And she served in that office for a very long time, May 1979 up until November of 1990. And she led the Conservative Party to 3 electoral victories and carried out extensive restructuring of the British government and economy to try to move away from the welfare state implemented after the Second World War.
Okay. Now, you wanted to move on to toys, right?
Yeah, toys. So over time, America really had an influence in Europe. Europe also had an influence regarding children's toys and had a grand effect on the American toy industry. Starting in 1932, during the midst of the Depression, Ole Kirk Christensen opened a business in Billund, Denmark that manufactured wooden toys and household goods. And 2 years later, they renamed the company Legos. And over the following years, Legos would find itself creating a theme park, the largest toy manufacturer in Europe, and becoming product of the century.
Also, the most painful thing to step on of the century. Yeah. So, who do we have anyone else? People-wise?
Yeah, people like Pope John Paul II. Throughout his pontificate, John Paul II continued a relationship with his native land of Poland, to where he made many visits. He was instrumental in demonstrating the authority of the church against Polish community and communist authorities.
Oh, that's funny. Putting his authority down, just like every other country in Europe has through history. So, any other like products made other than toys and Legos?
Yeah, we saw the development of the first computer. The earliest computers were quite massive in size. In 1946, J. Presper, Eckert, and J.W. Mauchly created the Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, which was dedicated at the University of Pennsylvania Moore School of Electrical Engineering.
I remember seeing pictures of that. It was pretty much larger than my first apartment, but you know. So what's the last topic for today?
The final thing is the European Union. In 1957, 6 members of the coal and steel community used the Treaty of Rome to form the organization known as the European Economic Community. It envisioned a free trade union and would come to be called the Common Market. But in November of 1993, they renamed it the European Union, and through the 90s, its greatest achievement would be launching the euro, the universal coin of Europe.
Oh, alright. Well, alright, it's been great having you.
It's been great
I appreciate
here.
it so much. You have a good night.
You too.
Alright, now let's cut to commercial.